My name is Jenna Cole. I'm 29 years old, and the night my boyfriend's birthday surprise turned out to be a love letter from his ex was the night I stopped assuming embarrassment and humiliation were the same thing. They're not. Embarrassment is tripping on your own heels in front of a crowd. Humiliation is having your entire relationship ripped open like gift wrap while 15 people hold their phones up and hit record. It was my birthday, a Thursday. I had about 15 people in my apartment, if you could call it mine, with how much of it Ethan treated like his personal stage. The place isn't huge. One bedroom, worn hardwood floors, a gray couch that's seen too many Netflix marathons, a little balcony with fake plants because I kill real ones. Most of the faces in my living room weren't even mine. They were Ethan's college friends, the loud ones he always said came with the package. My own friends were sprinkled in like garnish. 2 coworkers from my department and my cousin, parked at the kitchen island, clinging to their plastic cups. Ethan insisted on hosting this year. "You always do practical birthdays," he'd said a week before, wrapping his arms around me while I tried to meal prep at the stove. "Let me make it special. Let me show you off a little." He said show you off, like I was a limited series he just got the rights to stream. So I let him. By 8:45 p.m., the place smelled like cheap pizza and expensive perfume. My coffee table was covered in paper plates and half-finished drinks. Music was playing from the Bluetooth speaker Ethan liked to commandeer. People were laughing in that slightly too loud way that means the group is drunk enough to start oversharing. Ethan clapped his hands together. "All right, people, can we get the birthday girl over here?" he called out, voice turning theatrical. I turned from the kitchen, napkin still in my hand. I'm literally right here. He was standing in the center of the living room, directly under the overhead light like he'd found his mark. His hair was styled just so, shirt tucked in the way he liked when he knew people would be filming. Because of course they were filming. At least 4 of his friends had their phones up already, little red recording dots glowing back at me. Ethan held out a box. It was a lot. Navy paper, silver bow, the kind of professional wrapping job you only see on displays or in commercials. My name, Jenna, was written on a white tag in careful script. "You didn't have to do that," I said, trying to keep my voice light. "Yes, I did," he said, eyes sparkling in that way that always made me feel like I was one step behind on a joke. "You only turned 29 once. Come on, open it." My phone buzzed in my back pocket. I almost ignored it. Then muscle memory won, and I glanced at the screen. New text from Ethan. For a split second, I thought he'd sent some cheesy "I love you" message to be cute and dramatic in front of everyone. I swiped it open. Surprise, it's not really from me. It's from my ex. She still cares about you more than I do. My brain did this weird thing where it rejected the sentence and tried to rearrange the words into something that made sense. My ex still cares about you more than I do. I looked up at him. He was grinning. Not at me, though. At the cameras. At the audience. "Babe?" I said, my voice coming out flatter than I intended. "What is this?" He tilted his head. "It's funny," he said. "Inside joke. Come on, open it. You're ruining the moment." Laughter rippled through the room, thin and expectant. I felt 15 pairs of eyes on me. My cousin's brows were pinched together. One of Ethan's friends, Leah, I think, already had her phone angled perfectly, capturing my face, the box, the entire scene. "Sure," I said. My fingers felt numb around the ribbon. "Let's see the joke." The silver bow came off too smoothly. The paper made that crisp, tearing sound that always used to mean something good was happening. I lifted the lid. Tissue paper folded neatly. I peeled it back. Red silk spilled out. It wasn't just lingerie. It was a set. Delicate lace bra, matching underwear, and a sheer robe that looked like it belonged in a fragrance commercial, not my living room. People gasped, like a movie, like they'd rehearsed it. Someone dropped their cup. I heard liquid hit the floor. It took me a second to register the tag. Size small. Ethan always joked that I was fun size, but I am not a small. I haven't been since high school, but I knew who was. His ex. I knew because I'd seen the old photos once, back when I still believed his breakup story. Petite, narrow shoulders, curves packaged inside delicate clothes. There was a card nestled between the lace and the silk. I picked it up with fingers that didn't feel attached to my hand. Thursday, 8:00 p.m. Penthouse suite. Wear this and nothing else. Can't wait to have you back where you belong. My stomach dropped so fast I almost felt dizzy. It was 8:47 p.m. Thursday. I read it again, just to make sure my brain wasn't inventing words. "Anyone want to explain this?" I asked. Silence dropped over the room like someone had unplugged the speaker. Ethan's face went from smug to pale in one heartbeat. He lunged toward me, reaching for the card. "Okay, that's enough," he said, laughter forced and brittle. "Jenna, come on. It's a joke. Give me that." I stepped back. "And the text?" I held up my phone. My hand was shaking now, but my voice was steady. "The one you just sent me. It's from my ex. She still cares about you more than I do." "What's the punchline, Ethan? Walk me through it." His eyes flicked around the room, checking reactions, like he could edit this in real time. "Babe, you're making this weird," he tried. "It's just a prank. She sent that as a joke. She's messing with us." "Interesting," I said. Leah shifted uncomfortably. One of his guy friends cleared his throat. My cousin took a small step forward, just enough that I knew she'd move between us if she had to. "What hotel?" I asked. "What? What hotel is the penthouse suite at?" I held the card up between two fingers. "Because it's for tonight at 8, and it's 8:47, and every single person in this room knows where you are right now. So either your ex is having a very sad solo party in a robe that doesn't fit me, or she's waiting for you with champagne and room service." Ethan's jaw clenched. "Can we talk about this in the bedroom?" he hissed through his teeth. "No," I said. "We can't. You handed this to me in front of everyone. You texted me your little script while they were all pointing cameras at my face. If you wanted privacy, you should have started there." He reached for the box again. I snapped it shut. "How did she get my address?" I asked. He blinked. "What?" "My apartment. This box. The wrapping. The perfectly timed delivery," I said, my voice gaining an edge I barely recognized. "How did your ex-girlfriend get my address, Ethan? Did she just guess?" "Jenna." "Or," I continued, "did you give it to her? Maybe because you assumed it would be your name on that card and not mine." His best friend, Mark, stood up carefully from the armchair. "Hey, maybe we should all just—" "Sit down, Mark," I said without looking at him. He did. Ethan ran a hand through his hair, the move I'd seen 1,000 times when he was about to lie. "You're overreacting," he said. "She sent that to mess with me. She's crazy, I told you that. She probably stalked my socials and figured out where you live. That's why this is funny, babe, okay? It's messed up, but—" "Funny," I repeated. I opened the box again, pulled out the robe, and held it up. Its hem brushed my knees. It would hit his ex mid-thigh, right where the lace was designed to draw the eye. "Anyone else laughing?" I asked the room. No one was. A couple of his friends suddenly found the floor very interesting. "Ethan," my cousin said quietly from behind me, "you should probably answer her." "Thank you," I said without turning. His face hardened, embarrassment curdling into anger. "You're seriously doing this right now?" he snapped. "On your birthday? In front of everyone? You're making me look insane." I let out something between a laugh and a breath. "I opened lingerie meant for your ex," I said slowly, "in my living room, at a party you insisted on hosting, after you texted me about how much she cares. If anyone looks insane, Ethan, it's not me." Leah set her phone down, screen still recording. "This is uncomfortable," she muttered. "For who?" I asked. "Me, the idiot who's been paying most of the rent while her boyfriend schedules penthouse reunions with his ex, or the people who came here for free pizza and accidentally walked into a live cheating reveal." Her expression answered for her. I put the robe back in the box, shut the lid, and handed it to Ethan. "Here," I said. "You're late. Wouldn't want to waste her big night." "I'm not going anywhere," he said, voice rising. "Oh, you are," I replied. "Just not to the hotel." I turned to the room. "Party's over," I said. "Thanks for coming. Please see yourselves out." People hesitated, looked to Ethan, then back to me. One by one, they started moving, toward the door, toward the hallway, away from the blast radius. Ethan sputtered, "You can't just kick everyone out, Jenna. This is ridiculous." "I can, actually," I said. "This is my lease, my name on the contract, my utilities, my furniture, my Ring camera on the door." He froze for a second when I said that. That was when I knew. I walked past him, ignoring the way his fingers twitched like he wanted to grab my arm and thought better of it. In my bedroom, I shut the door, locked it, and leaned back against the wood. The muffled sounds of people shuffling out floated through the wall. Ethan's voice rose and fell, thin and desperate. The front door clicked shut. Silence settled over the apartment like dust. I straightened, grabbed my phone, and laid the box on the bed. One by one, I started taking photos. The wrapping, the card, the text he'd sent, the timestamp, the guest list in my head. I emailed everything to myself, then backed it up to the cloud. I didn't know exactly what I'd need yet. I just knew this wasn't over, and whatever came next, I wasn't going to rely on his version of the truth. I didn't sleep much that night. The apartment felt wrong. Too quiet in the places that used to hum, too loud anywhere Ethan had ever laughed. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that red silk and the way his face twisted when I mentioned the camera. Around 3 a.m., I gave up on sleep completely and opened my laptop instead. Bank statements, rent receipts, utility bills. I pulled them up one by one, cold blue light washing over numbers I already knew by heart. My name on every line that mattered. His name, nowhere. By the time the sun leaked through the blinds, I had a folder on my desktop titled Ethan and an ache behind my eyes that felt like it had set up permanent residence. At 8:12 a.m., there was a soft knock on my bedroom door. "Jenna?" His voice hoarse. "Can we talk?" I took a breath, let it fill my lungs, held it until my chest hurt, then exhaled. "Give me a second," I said. I splashed cold water on my face, tied my hair up, and walked out into the living room. He was sitting on his couch, elbows on his knees, last night's clothes twisted and wrinkled. His eyes were bloodshot in a way that might have made me feel bad for him once. "Morning," he said, like we'd had a minor disagreement instead of a public implosion. "Morning," he swallowed. "About last night." "How long?" I asked. His mouth snapped shut. "Jenna, come on, can we at least—" "How long?" I repeated. He stared at the floor, then at his hands, then finally at me. "A couple months," he muttered. I waited. "2," he said more clearly. 2 months. The number slid into my chest like a knife that had been waiting for its cue. "How many times?" I asked. He flinched. "Does that really matter?" "Yes," I said, "it does." His leg bounced. 6, okay? 6 times. Hotels, I thought immediately. The card hadn't said come over. It had said penthouse suite. "Where?" I asked. "Does it matter?" he repeated, more defensive now, like if he changed the question, he could change the answer. "Ethan!" He exhaled hard. "Hotels," he admitted. "She paid. She's the one with money now, remember? Big promotion, new company, whatever. It wasn't like—" "Like what?" I cut in. "Like cheating?" He glared. "Can you not say it like that?" "What? Accurately?" I felt something inside me go very, very still. "You slept with your ex-girlfriend 6 times over 2 months in hotel rooms she paid for, while living in the apartment I pay for. Which part would you like me to rephrase?" He scrubbed his hands over his face. "It started innocent," he said, voice muffled. "We ran into each other at a coffee shop. We were just catching up. Then texting. It got confusing." "Did it involve your clothes?" I asked. "Or hers?" He dropped his hands. "Jesus, Jenna. Answer the question." He hesitated, then gave up. "Both." There it was. A part of me wanted to scream, throw something, demand details until the story collapsed under the weight of itself. Instead, I found myself walking to the kitchen, my movements weirdly calm. "I work 50 hours a week," I said, opening the fridge, staring into it without really seeing anything. "I pay the rent, the utilities, most of the groceries. I pay for the streaming services you binge your shows on." "I help," he protested. "I pay stuff sometimes. I bought food." "You Venmo'd me for pizza last month and called it a big gesture," I said. "You work 25 hours at a bar and spend half your tips on drinks with your friends who came over to watch my life explode last night. So no, Ethan, I bankroll this place." He was quiet. "That's not fair," he said finally, but it lacked conviction. "I told you I'm trying to figure things out, career-wise. You knew I wasn't where I wanted to be yet." "I knew you weren't where you wanted to be," I corrected. "What I didn't know is that part of your journey involved loyalty points at boutique hotels." He winced. "Why?" I asked softly. "Really?" He stared at the rug, fingers twisting the edge of a throw pillow. "You're always working," he said after a long pause. "You come home and you're tired. You talk about budgets and spreadsheets and your boss's impossible deadlines. We never do anything fun. It's all responsible, structured." "So you cheated because my time management offended you," I said. He shook his head quickly. "No, I cheated because she makes me feel alive, okay? She's spontaneous. She doesn't schedule everything. We used to just get in the car and go somewhere. No plan, no spreadsheet, no—" "Lease?" I suggested. He frowned. "What?" "Where are you staying tonight?" I asked. "What does that have to do with anything?" "You're not sleeping here," I said. "So where are you staying?" He stared at me like I'd just slapped him. "You're kicking me out?" he demanded. "After one mistake?" 6, I said quietly. "And no, I'm not kicking you out of your home. I'm asking you to leave mine." He laughed, disbelieving. "You can't do that. I live here." "You stay here," I corrected. "You live nowhere, on paper." His brows pulled together. "What are you talking about?" I walked to the counter, picked up the folder I'd left there. The lease was clipped to the top. Your name doesn't appear anywhere on this, I said. And you never ended the lease on your old place. I checked the email confirmation last night. You've been paying for your old studio this whole time, Ethan. You kept it just in case, remember? Your words. His face went slack. You went through my email? He snapped. You use my laptop when yours dies, I said. You never log out of anything. It's amazing what auto login reveals. He opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. That's not the point, he said finally. You can't just throw me out. I have rights. We've been together for almost 2 years. I'm not throwing you on the street, I said. I'm reminding you that you still have a place that legally belongs to you. You move back in there. You have until Sunday to get your stuff out of here. Sunday? He repeated, as if I'd suggested 10 minutes. That's insane. Where am I supposed to go until then? I gave him a look. Your old apartment? The penthouse suite? Take your pick. His eyes flashed. You're being cruel. I'm being clear, I said. You made a choice. I'm making mine. You have 3 days. He grabbed his phone, stabbed at the screen. What are you doing? I asked. Calling my mom, he said. You can't just... He put the call on speaker. It rang twice. Hi, honey, his mother's voice chirped. How was the party? Did Jenna Mom, she's throwing me out, he said without preamble. Can she do that? Isn't that illegal after I've been living here this long? There was a beat of silence. What? Her tone dropped. Jenna, are you there? I am, I said. Good morning. Why are you kicking my son out? She demanded. That's not how relationships work. You can't just dispose of people because you're upset. He's welcome to explain why I'm upset, I said. If he conveniently forgets to mention the lingerie and hotel reservation from his ex, I can send you a photo. Jenna, Ethan hissed. Excuse me? His mom said. He's been cheating on me for 2 months, I said, my voice steady, with his ex, in hotel rooms she paid for, while living here, rent-free, in an apartment I pay for. The lease is in my name only. His old lease is still active. He's not homeless. He's double-dipping. There was a longer silence this time. Ethan, his mother said slowly, is that true? He paced, running his hand through his hair. She's blowing it out of proportion, he muttered. It's complicated. Is your name on the lease? She asked. No, but... Does your old place still belong to you? Yes, but... Then Jenna is within her rights to ask you to leave, she said, her voice suddenly clipped and formal. You made a mistake, Ethan. Mom, he snapped, you're supposed to be on my side. I am on the side of you not being an idiot, she shot back. I almost felt bad for him. Almost. You have somewhere to go, I said. I'm giving you until Sunday. I think that's generous. His mother sighed. Jenna, honey, are you sure you don't want to try counseling? Breaking up over one mistake. 6, I corrected again. And I don't want counseling. I want my space back. You'll regret this, she said, defaulting to guilt now. People make mistakes. You don't just throw away a relationship. I'm not throwing it away, I said. He did that when he booked a hotel room and invited someone else into it. I'm just taking out the trash afterward. She drew in a sharp breath. You? I ended the call. Wow, Ethan said, staring at me. You're really going full Ice Queen, huh? You have until Sunday, I repeated. I suggest you start packing. He stormed into the bedroom, yanking drawers open, stuffing clothes into bags with the kind of drama that would have played better in a movie. I spent the rest of the day doing something far less cinematic. I started putting his things in boxes. His shoes by the door. His video game collection. The shaving kit he left scattered around my bathroom sink. I labeled each box with his name and stacked them neatly by the front door. Saturday morning, I went to the gym to get out of the apartment, to sweat out some of the anger rattling around inside my ribs. Halfway through my workout, my phone buzzed. Ring notification. Front door, motion detected. I wiped my hands on a towel and opened the app. The video feed popped up, showing Ethan on the screen, flanked by 2 guys I recognized, his brother and a friend. They were hauling boxes, stepping in and out of my doorway. Ethan picked up my Bluetooth speaker, the expensive one I'd saved up for last Christmas, the one I'd bought months before he ever moved in. I hit the microphone icon. Put that back, I said. All 3 of them jumped, looking up at the camera. We're just taking Ethan's things, his brother said, squinting up at the lens. That speaker is mine, I said. Purchased 11 months before Ethan brought his first pair of socks into this apartment. The TV too, the couch, anything you didn't personally see him carry in does not leave this unit. She said she paid for half of everything here, his brother argued. She paid for the occasional electric bill, I said. If you need receipts, I have them. If you walk out with anything that doesn't belong to him, I will call the police and show them the footage of you taking it. They glanced at each other. Dude, just leave it, his friend muttered. This is not worth it. Ethan glared at the camera. You're seriously doing this, he said. Over a speaker? I almost laughed. This isn't about the speaker, I said. It's about the fact that you took enough already. They argued among themselves for another 10 minutes while I watched from the bench press like it was some low-budget reality show. Eventually, the speaker went back on the shelf. They left with the boxes I'd packed and a few extra things that were undeniably his. When I got home later that afternoon, the apartment felt lighter. Not healed, not better, but emptier in a way that felt like possibility instead of loss. On the kitchen counter, my phone buzzed again. Venmo requests. $380 for half of utilities last 8 months. $250 for food and household items. $200 for emotional distress. I stared at the screen for a long second. Then I declined every single one. An hour later, his name popped up in a group chat with mutual friends. I watched the messages roll in. Can you believe she did this to me? Locked me out of the place I live. Kept my stuff. Took my speaker. Total psycho. Screenshots started appearing in my DMs from people who weren't impressed with the performance. Leah sent the first one. I thought you should see this. I know what I saw Thursday. I'm not okay with him lying about it. Underneath her message were screenshots of Ethan's version of the story, twisted until I was the villain and he was a tragic, displaced hero. I felt something settle in my chest. Fine, I thought. If he wanted to turn this into a narrative war, he'd chosen the wrong opponent. I created a new folder on my desktop. Evidence. Then I dragged the screenshots inside. I spent Sunday in a haze of cleaning and reclaiming. It's strange how silence feels different when someone toxic has finally left your space. The walls seemed to exhale. The air moved easier. Even the kitchen felt bigger, like it was relieved Ethan's chaos wasn't spilling onto the countertops anymore. By evening, the apartment was almost back to normal. My normal. Or as close as normal could be after having my relationship publicly detonate 48 hours earlier. I was folding laundry when my phone buzzed. Building manager. Hi, Jenna. A man matching your ex's description came by asking to be let in. Claims he lives there. I refused. My stomach tightened. He also yelled at me about illegal eviction. I explained his name isn't on the lease. He left angry. Just heads up. I thanked him and added the message to the evidence folder. By 9 p.m., I thought maybe, just maybe, I'd get through one night without Ethan trying to claw his way back into my world. I was wrong. At 10:26 p.m., a knock rattled my door. Sharp. Repeated. 3, then 4 times. My pulse jumped. I didn't even have to look through the peephole. I knew his knock. I waited. Another knock, louder this time. Then his voice, muffled through the wood. Jenna, open the door. We need to talk. No, we did not. He knocked again. I know you're in there. Your car is outside. I clenched my jaw. It took everything in me not to answer. Instead, I picked up my phone. Recorded the audio. Saved it. Timestamped it. After maybe 3 minutes of silence, I heard footsteps retreat down the hall. Then, a new notification buzzed. Unknown number. Answer your door. Block. Screenshot. Save. Another number. You can't avoid me forever. We live together. Block. Screenshot. Save. A third number. You owe me a conversation. I didn't reply. He must have realized he wasn't getting in, because by midnight the text stopped, replaced by something worse. He started posting. Instagram story. Some people show their true colors when things get hard. Mental abuse is still abuse. Another, locked out of my own place. Girls, if he does it to me, he'll do it to you. I watched the viewers list. 20 mutual friends. 10 of my friends. Then the messages started rolling in from people who knew him. Did you really lock him out? Why didn't you just talk to him? You didn't have to be so harsh. I didn't answer anyone. I just kept saving everything. Monday morning, I walked into work with caffeine and zero sleep holding me together. I barely reached my desk before my manager popped his head over the cubicle wall. Hey, Jenna, HR wants to see you. My stomach dropped. HR, now what? I forced a steady breath and walked down the hall. When I stepped into the office, the HR rep closed the door gently behind me. Jenna, we received a message this morning through the company's contact form, and we want to address it with you right away. She turned her monitor so I could see the screen. The email was short, anonymous, and venomous. Your employee, Jenna Cole, is unstable and dangerous. She has been harassing and stalking her ex-boyfriend relentlessly. He's terrified. Please consider the safety of your workplace. I stared at it, not shocked, just exhausted. The HR rep watched me carefully. Do you know who might have sent this? I opened my bag and took out my laptop. Yeah, I said softly. I do. I opened my evidence folder. texts, screenshots, ring footage, messages from the building, the video of Ethan trying to take my speaker, his late-night knocks, his anonymous numbers. The HR rep's eyebrows climbed higher and higher. "Oh," she whispered, "this is extensive." "I wanted to be prepared," I said. "He's been escalating." She scrolled slowly through everything. "This email is clearly retaliation," she said firmly. "We'll be documenting it as harassment toward you, not from you. You are not in trouble, and if anything further comes in, we'll handle it." Something inside my chest loosened, maybe for the first time in days. "Thank you," I said quietly. "Jenna," she added gently, "if you feel unsafe coming to work, let me know. Security can walk you in. We take this very seriously." I nodded. "I'll think about it." When I walked out of HR, I didn't go back to my desk. I walked straight to my car, put the address of the courthouse into my GPS, and started driving. The courthouse lobby smelled like old carpet and coffee gone stale hours ago. At the clerk's window, I asked for the paperwork for a restraining order. The clerk handed me a thick packet. "Fill out everything you can," she said. "Be detailed. Attach any evidence. The judge will review it today and set a hearing." I sat at a table under flickering fluorescent lights and started writing. Dates, times, locations, what he said, what he did, how many numbers he used, every place he showed up, every lie he spread. I attached screenshots of his messages, photos of the lingerie and card, the text he sent me before the reveal, video of him grabbing my speaker, messages from the building manager, HR summaries, anonymous emails, door knocks recorded at midnight, 30 pages total, not including footage on the USB drive. When I handed the packet back to the clerk, she flipped through it and nodded. "This is substantial," she said. "A hearing will be set within 2 weeks. We'll notify him, and you." I walked out of the courthouse feeling strangely light. Not happy, not safe yet, but grounded, like the moment before a storm finally breaks, and once the thunder rolls through, something better is coming after. The 2 weeks leading up to the hearing felt like walking through a minefield I'd mapped in advance, but still feared triggering. Every day I documented everything. Every unknown number, every social media post, every time a mutual friend quietly messaged me, "Hey, he's asking where you usually get coffee, I thought you should know." The spreadsheet on my laptop grew rows like a living thing. Each line, one more reminder of why I filed the paperwork. But it was the Wednesday before the hearing that things escalated from unsettling to dangerous. I had just stepped into my building's lobby after work, hands full of groceries, when the front desk attendant, Miguel, stood up fast. "Jenna," he said, voice low, "hold on." I froze. He came around the desk, blocking the entry with his body. "He was here again," Miguel said. My pulse kicked. "Ethan?" Miguel nodded grimly. "Showed up about an hour ago. Tried to convince me he left something upstairs. When I said he's banned unless you approve access, he got loud." "Loud how?" I asked. "Enough that I almost hit the call button for police," Miguel said. "I told him to leave or he'd be trespassing." He finally stormed out, but he sat in his car across the street for maybe 30 minutes. I made a note of it. I swallowed hard. "Thank you." "Do you want security to escort you up?" he asked gently. I hesitated, but only for a second. "Yes." He grabbed the on-duty guard, who walked me to the elevator and waited outside my door until I was safely inside. The moment the lock clicked, I leaned against the door and let the groceries dig into my arms. My eyes burned, my breath trembled. Then I pushed off, set the bags down, and opened my laptop. One more line in the spreadsheet, one more piece of proof. He wasn't just heartbroken. He was showing up at my home, again, after being told dozens of times to stop. Friday was worse. I was halfway through my gym warm-up when my headphones died. Annoying, but whatever. I wrapped them around my wrist and headed to the front desk to ask if they had a charger. That's when I saw him. Ethan, sitting in the lobby, not dressed to work out, no gym bag, no water bottle, just watching the entrance. Watching me, apparently, because the second our eyes met, his expression twisted into some warped mixture of hope and resentment. I froze mid-step. One of the front desk guys glanced between us. "You know him?" Before I could answer, Ethan stood. "I just wanted to talk," he said, voice restricted, as if he were barely holding something back. "You haven't answered any of my texts or calls or messages." "Because you're not supposed to be contacting me," I said, keeping my tone even, "and showing up at my gym is not better." "This isn't your private gym," he snapped. "I can be here." "Then work out," I said. "Don't sit here staring at the door waiting for me." His face reddened. "You think you can treat me like some criminal after everything I did for you?" I laughed once, sharp, humorless. What exactly did you do for me? I asked. Besides cheat, lie, and make my home and job a minefield? His jaw clenched. You ruined my life. No, I said. You're just finally facing the consequences of your own choices. Don't confuse the two. The front desk guy stepped in then. Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Ethan looked between the two of us. Me, calm and unshaken. The staff member, firm and unimpressed. And something flickered behind his eyes. Panic, anger, both? You'll regret this, he muttered, then shoved the door open and walked out. I waited until he was gone, then exhaled. A breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. The front desk guy turned to me. You want me to file an incident report? Yes, I said immediately. Please. I added that report to the folder too. Saturday morning, I got a text from my barber. Barber, hey Jenna, weird thing happened. A woman came in asking about you. Is everything okay? A woman. My blood went cold. Me, what did she look like? Barber, short blonde hair, designer jacket, maybe early 30s? Said she used to be family to you. Asked when you usually come in, what you talk about. If you seem lonely, the description punched straight through me. Not Ethan's friend, not his sister. His ex-girlfriend. The same one who bought the lingerie. The same one he cheated with. The same one he apparently couldn't give up even after everything blew up. She was looking for me, looking for information, asking strangers about my routines. For a long moment, I just stared at the phone, pulse thrumming in my throat. Then I typed back, me. If she comes in again, please don't answer anything, and please call me immediately. Barber, already planned on it. Stay safe, Jenna. I added the text to my folder. Then I saved my hair appointment contacts as a PDF in case I needed them as witnesses. Every piece mattered now. Every footprint they left. Sunday evening, 24 hours before the hearing, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. I almost let it go to voicemail. Almost. But something in my gut told me to answer. Hello? A pause. Then, this is Officer Graham with the City Police Department. Am I speaking with Jenna Cole? Yes, I said, heart kicking up. Is everything okay? We received a report earlier today from an individual named Ethan Wells, he said. He claims you stole a television, laptop, jewelry, and cash from his residence. Of course he did. I closed my eyes briefly, then opened them again. Officer, he doesn't have a residence here, I said. He never signed my lease, and he left voluntarily. The television and laptop were purchased by me. The jewelry he's referring to doesn't exist, and he has no evidence of any cash. He exhaled, a weary, familiar kind of exhale. That aligns with what we suspected, he said. He couldn't produce receipts or proof of residency. I still need to come by to officially close this out. Are you home? Yes, I said. I'll buzz you in. 20 minutes later, he stood in my living room, flipping through the receipts I kept neatly filed in a binder. You're extremely organized, he noted. It's a coping mechanism, I said. He offered a sympathetic half smile and handed the papers back. I'm marking this as a civil matter with no evidence to support his claims, he said. Given the restraining order hearing tomorrow, I'd recommend continuing to document everything. His behavior is escalating. A chill slid down my spine. I know, I said quietly. Do you feel safe tonight? He asked. I took a breath before answering. Safer than I did last week. If anything changes, he said, call us immediately. When he left, I added the police report number to the top of my spreadsheet, then set my alarm for the morning. Tomorrow was the hearing. Tomorrow, I would finally put a legal wall between myself and a man who had slowly dismantled every piece of my peace, and then blame me for the ruins. I turned off the lights. For the first time in weeks, I felt the faintest flicker of hope. The morning of the hearing felt like moving underwater, everything slow, heavy, muffled by nerves I refused to show. I dressed with the same precision I used when preparing quarterly presentations at work. A clean navy blouse, black slacks, hair pulled back neatly. Not dramatic, not emotional, just steady. My hands still shook a little when I picked up the thick evidence folder from my kitchen table. 30 pages inside. USB drive clipped to the front. Timeline spreadsheet printed and highlighted. A map of everything he'd done, everything I survived. I drove to the courthouse with music off, windows cracked, cool air brushing my face. And even though I knew I wasn't doing anything wrong, my stomach knotted when I parked. The courthouse steps felt taller today. Inside, a bailiff pointed me toward the right courtroom. Courtroom 2B. I took a seat in the second row, close enough for the judge to hear me clearly, far enough not to look like I was trying to prove anything. The room filled slowly. Then he walked in. Ethan, hair slicked back, dress shirt buttoned to the throat. A jacket that didn't fit quite right, borrowed most likely. Beside him, his mother, lips tight, looking around like she was horrified by the decor itself. And a lawyer I didn't recognize, carrying a thin folder, so thin it was almost insulting. They sat at the opposite table. Ethan saw me, looked away fast. His mother didn't. She stared. Judgmental. Cold. Like she still believed this was all an overreaction I could apologize away. I kept my gaze forward. The judge entered, stern, composed, efficient. Case number 2187B, she announced. Cole versus Wells. Petition for a protective order. We both stood. I felt the ground steady beneath my feet. The judge nodded toward my side. Petitioner may be seated, respondent as well. Ethan sank down. His knee bounced uncontrollably. The judge folded her hands. Ms. Cole, you're petitioning for a restraining order against Mr. Wells, stating ongoing harassment, stalking, false reports, and repeated unwanted contact. Is that correct? Yes, Your Honor. And you've provided evidence? Yes. I slid the thick folder forward, hands steady. The judge flipped it open. Her eyebrows lifted slightly. This is extensive. I didn't reply. She nodded to my lawyer, an older woman with sharp eyes and a sharper memory. Proceed. My lawyer stood. Your Honor, the evidence speaks for itself. Over the past 6 weeks, the respondent contacted my client from 12 different phone numbers after being blocked. He showed up at her residence after being told not to. He attempted to enter the building. He harassed her at her workplace, resulting in security intervention. He sat at her gym for extended periods, watching her come and go. He filed false police reports about stolen items. She paused, letting each point land like a small hammer. Additionally, he orchestrated an online smear campaign, attempting to damage her professional reputation and social relationships. The petitioner has provided screenshots, timestamps, building reports, security footage, HR documentation, and a police report confirming his claims were unfounded. She handed the USB drive to the bailiff, video evidence included. The judge nodded, brows knitting together. Then she turned to Ethan's lawyer. Response? Ethan's attorney stood, polished voice, practiced sympathy. Your Honor, he began, my client is simply heartbroken after the end of a long-term relationship. He acknowledges making poor decisions and seeking closure, but denies any intent to threaten or harm Ms. Cole. He disputes the characterization that his actions constitute stalking. He simply wanted a chance to talk, something Ms. Cole refused repeatedly. The judge looked unimpressed. Did he contact her from multiple numbers? The lawyer hesitated. He admits to trying more than once to reach her. 12 numbers, my lawyer cut in. 12. The judge turned back to Ethan. Mr. Wells, did you use multiple phone numbers to contact Ms. Cole after she told you to stop? Ethan swallowed. Yeah, but only because... Yes or no? Yes. And did you go to her residence after being asked not to? It wasn't like that, he sputtered. I just needed... Yes or no? A muscle twitched in his jaw. Yes. The judge flipped another page. Did you file a police report claiming she stole a television, jewelry, and cash? She did take... The officer who responded found no evidence, my lawyer interjected. Ethan's lawyer stepped in. Your Honor, we contest the officer's interpretation. Did you file the report? The judge asked, eyes narrowing. Ethan's voice cracked. Yes. And did you show up at her workplace without invitation? She asked. That's exaggerated, he snapped. It was one time. My lawyer slid a printed security report forward. Twice, Your Honor. The judge's gaze sharpened. Mr. Wells, she said, did you show up at her workplace twice? He shifted. Yeah. And her gym? Silence. And her barbershop? Her voice cut through the room like cold steel. Ethan's face flushed deep red. I wasn't stalking her. I just wanted to understand why she blew up our relationship over nothing. Nothing. I felt something dark twist inside me. Not hurt, not anymore. Recognition. This was who he really was, who he'd always been. The judge leaned forward. Mr. Wells, the evidence paints a clear picture of ongoing, escalating contact and attempts to circumvent boundaries set by Ms. Cole. Regardless of your emotional state, this behavior constitutes harassment and creates an unsafe environment for the petitioner. His mother opened her mouth. Your Honor, if I may... Ma'am, the judge said sharply without looking at her, if you speak again without permission, I will have you removed. Ethan's mother snapped her mouth shut. The judge closed the folder. I am granting the restraining order. Ethan's head jerked up. What? For how long? 1 year, the judge said firmly. No contact, direct or indirect. You must stay a minimum of 100 yards from Ms. Cole's residence, workplace, gym, and any known frequented locations. Any violation will be considered a criminal offense. Ethan looked stunned. His mother gasped like someone had slapped her. Your Honor, his attorney tried. This ruling is final, she cut him off. Mr. Wells, you need to focus on moving forward, not clinging to someone who has clearly moved on. This order is protective, not punitive. Respect it. The judge stood. Court adjourned. Her gavel hit the block. The sound felt like a door closing behind me. For the first time in weeks, I could breathe. Outside the courtroom, his mother stormed toward me. You traumatized my son, she hissed. He's in therapy because of you. You humiliated him, ruined his reputation. Do you have any idea what you've done? I met her glare, unflinching. Yes, I said. I protected myself. That's what I've done. He loved you, she spat. If this is his version of love, I said quietly, then he needs therapy more than you realize. You're heartless. No, I said. I'm someone who finally set boundaries after being betrayed. Make sure your son understands the order. Violating it is a crime. I walked away as she continued yelling, security already stepping between us. I didn't look back. The fallout came fast after that. Mutual friends shifted away from him. Some blocked him outright. Others quietly messaged me. He's saying wild things online again. He tried to crash at my place, but we told him no. His ex won't take him back either. She blocked him after he showed up at her office. He was unraveling, burning every bridge he stepped on, dragging his own life down, one self-inflicted wound at a time. None of it was my responsibility. A week later, at work, someone tapped the edge of my cubicle. I turned and found Dylan, the coworker who had been kind in all the quiet ways during the chaos. Thoughtful, respectful, never intrusive. He held 2 paper cups. Coffee? He asked. The good place across the street, not the corporate sludge in the break room. Despite everything, the exhaustion, the residue of fear, some part of me thawed. I took the cup. Thanks, I said. You didn't have to do that. I know, he said, but I wanted to. We talked. Easy. Light. Not like a rebound. Like someone gently opening a window in a room that's been closed too long. When he asked if I'd want to grab lunch sometime, real lunch, not work lunch, I hesitated only a moment. Yes, I said. I think I would. He smiled. Slow is fine, he added. You set the pace. I nodded. Slow felt right. Careful felt right. Alive felt possible again. My birthday was coming up again, a full year since the disaster that detonated my old life. Let me take you somewhere, Dylan said one afternoon. Nothing wild, maybe a comedy show? Something with low emotional risk and zero lingerie. I laughed, really laughed, for the first time in a long time. No wrapped gifts, I told him. Not yet. Understood, he said. We'll ease into that around your 35th birthday. I rolled my eyes, smiling despite myself. Now my apartment is mine again. Truly mine. I replaced the couch, repainted a wall, hung up art I actually like instead of whatever Ethan thought was aesthetic. And every time I lock my door, I feel nothing but relief. No fear, no tension, no waiting for a knock. Just peace. Some people ask if I feel guilty about the restraining order, if I regret any part of it. My answer is always the same. No. He cheated. He lied. He tried to steal my things. He tried to weaponize my workplace. He stalked me. He harassed me. He escalated until legal protection was the only option. His consequences were built with his own hands. I simply stopped cushioning the fall. The truth is this. Sometimes the trash takes itself out, and sometimes you have to drag it to the curb and sign court papers to keep it there. Either way, my life is cleaner without it.